The Stage Door Show, celebrating the independent artist. Hosted by Dave Hondel.
Hey everybody, this is Brandon Bing. You're listening to The Stage Door Show with Dave Hondel.
I got orange babes and bourbon in a glass. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I know it's kinda going, yeah, it's kinda going fast. I got orange babes and bourbon in a glass.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Stage Door Show. Tonight, this is Dave Hondel, and I'm excited. We have Brandon Bing, country singer from Florida. How you doing, Brandon?
Good, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing fine, man. Did you have a nice Memorial weekend?
I did, with the exception of it's raining cats and dogs, I think we're doing all right.
Yeah, man, Florida, that happens, right? This time of year, you get those rainfalls every afternoon. So I don't miss the monsoon, but I do miss Florida.
Oh, yeah.
So, man, I appreciate you joining me tonight. I'm up here in actually D.C. right now. I'm usually out of New York, New Jersey area, but I'm broadcasting from D.C. And I got to tell you though, man, it was hot out here today, and it reminded me of Florida and in those days when I was down there. And the music scene down in Florida is just amazing, and especially the country scene. I really miss going to shows, the country shows down there, and just basically talk about some of the stuff that you've been working on during this long quarantine. Have you been able to write some new music?
Yeah, basically, with the whole quarantine thing going on, I've definitely had a lot of extra time on my hands outside of working. So I have been, working on a bunch of new projects, getting ready for my recording next month. I'm going back into the studio in Nashville in about two and a half weeks. So I'm trying to get prepared for that, and got some pretty killer, songs that I've put together over the last couple months during this whole quarantine situation. So it's definitely given me a different writer space, and allowed me to focus more on just the individuality of like what makes me who I am as an artist and a songwriter.
Yeah, man. I got a chance to listen to some of your music. It's really good stuff. I mean, Back Porch. Let's talk about that one. You had in 2019, you had an EP called The Florida Man, and a lot of the songs on there. I mean, just really top-notch material. And talk about Back Porch and really where that one came from, and what were you thinking when you wrote that? And I mean, it was really good. Really good vibe. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So the Back Porch idea came from just being here in Florida. Being a Florida boy myself, I was just kind of more or less just looking at the whole image of, what is it? What do we do all the time down here in Florida, which is on the weekends, everybody's usually going to the river, the beach, and spending time with friends. And I was like, how do I create this kind of experience of just that guitar player that's usually like kind of the tiki bar or restaurant bar kind of background noise that everybody's just kind of hearing and requesting songs from, and so on and so forth. And when I wrote the record, I was like, man, I'm gonna make it kind of like a dream, where it's kind of like just a random guitar player, seeing all these women out there, and just kind of there's this one that he kind of just visualizes in his head, and while he's playing throughout the night, he kind of like falls in love with her and stuff like that. And so that's kind of how the story went.
Sitting here on a little back porch, rocking to the beat. Watch the stars shine through the clouds, moonlight up the beach. To see that girl with the drink in hand, mesmerize with me. This old boy's gonna strum these strings to the flow of her heartbeat. I can spin you around all night long and watch you do-si-do, but I'd rather spend my whole time holding you close. I can see the smile in your eyes as your heart skips another beat. That's the first step that I took to sweep you off of your feet.
And it just kind of gives you this different, relatable experience. I think a lot of people can relate to, seeing a girl that catches their eye and just, finding things that they have in common, and it turns into something deeper than that. So that's kind of what the premise of the song was, and it worked out really good. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, and then one of the other ones that I really liked was Barnes, Babes, and Bourbon. Man, that was a great song. I mean, it's a nice beat, and it's just a really nice song, man. Talk about that one.
Yeah, that one's got a little bit more gas. It's definitely more of a beat. I'm a big line dancer and a big two-stepper. So For me, I wanted to have a song that kind of solidify that kind of experience, that like honky tonk kind of feel.
Bars, babes, and bourbon in a glass. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I know it's kinda going, yeah, it's kinda going fast. I got bars, babes, and bourbon in a glass. The time went fast, we had a good time already. Down some shots to start the night. I looked across that dance floor right, saw the miles again, that girl is mine. As I slid her way to grab her hand real tight, Johnny said it best, we'll just walk that line. I got bars, babes, and bourbon in a glass. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I know it's kinda going, yeah, it's kinda going fast. I got bars, babes, and bourbon in a glass.
And so you'll hear different touch points in the song, you know, where the verses like talk about, you know, that girl that you see and you're, you know, dancing around on the dance floor and you just like take her breath away. And then, you know, it's kind of like that whole male, you know, cat and mouse chase kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're playing hard to get, but then at the end of it, you wind up getting her, you know, obviously because she hops in the truck towards the end. You know what I'm saying? So it was a cool record.
Yeah, man. I gotta tell you, when you mentioned line dancing, the first thing I thought of when that song came on was line dancing. So it was definitely effective. Yeah, definitely effective. And there's a lot of, actually, you know, I used to live in the Orlando area, and there's a lot of spots down there where they do line dancing, and you know that was one of the fun parts of being in that Central Florida area was the amount of places that you can go and actually do line dancing and kind of get that country vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, smoky bars and guitars. That was another. Like I said, all these songs were good on your EP, but you know, where did that song? You know, how did you get that song? Where did you come up with the name first of all, and also, you know, the words for that one? That was also a good song. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. So Smoky Bars and Guitars, basically, that record was that was an interesting one for me because there's a place. It's a really iconic honky tonk down here in Florida. It's in Sanford, Florida. I'm sure since you used to live in Florida yourself, so you know the barn in Sanford was a staple. I've been going there for over a decade, and what's been great for me with that experience was a lot of greats had graced the stage. Garth Brooks being one of them. Blake Shelton's played there. Several other classic country artists over the years have played that everybody knows, and there's just a lot of history. I used to go to the barn every Thursday night, and I go Thursday, Friday. At some point, I was literally a barn rat, going there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it was just kind of a thing for me, man. Like I had a lot of great friends. A lot of my friends are from the barn that I built over the years. After high school, going through college, and after college, and it's just an experience. I mean, when you go to the barn, it's a throwback, barn style honky tonk. With line dancing, and we had everything from, we had karaoke in the back, we had mechanical bull riding, you had multiple, bars. Just the atmosphere and the ambiance really brought you back to that old country way of life with the old school honky tonks. And it was one of the few honky tonks left in the state of Florida, probably, I'd say only, like I said, a couple or so that you could actually smoke in. And so the idea of the record was talking about me getting together with my boys and getting out there on a Thursday night. And it was a Thirsty Thursday. We'd get out there and, we'd park in the grass lot and we'd all go, inside. And it was just kind of walking people through that experience of being at the barn in Sanford and, the whole smoking cigarettes and that all, a lot of ass in that song. There's a rock feel to it.
Thursday night, my boys rolling the spot, parked in the grass at the barn parking lot, hopping out the trucks with our hats in hand, strutting in our Wranglers as our boots were dragging. Drop a 10 and grab a ticket, slide to the bar, yeah, it's time to kick it. Grab a drink, What do you say? Down the hatch with it, yeah, it's time to party. Smoky bars and guitars, 6 strings and marble menthols, PBRs and wild turkey shots, smoking neon lights in this honky-tonk bar.
So it was just a different kind of experience. And I was just kind of wanted to do something that my hometown could be proud of, write a record that they could be excited about. And that's where that song came from, man. And I think it definitely touches all the touch points for sure. And it's a fun one to jam out to. Got a little Skinnerd and a like kind of like a ZZ Top kind of feel, a little heavier, shredding on the guitars. And yeah, just a fun time.
It's definitely a fun song. I really like that one a lot. And it was basically talk about when you discovered your talent for music and some of your influences growing up. I mean, when did you discover this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so funny about like music talent. I mean, I've always done music my whole life. My dad used to be, he was a DJ in college when he was at Purdue in Indiana, out in West Lafayette. And he, used to, do all the different types of party, club nights during his college career. Then he was an intern at CBS Records. Used to work under Al Schumann during the time when, Clive was on his upswing through there and everything like that. And so it was just he used to play a bunch of vinyl, and having him around to play old records and just really open my musical taste just showed me a lot of different value in different types of genres, different songwriters, different singers, and it helped me, I think, really establish my style. When I went into school at an early age, I used to play cello for a couple of years, played drums for about 8 years, and then I was always a writer. I wrote everything. I was writing for a long time. I wrote my first song back when I was like 12 or 13. Had influences with, like I said, different genres from oldies to classic rock to metal to hip hop to everything, and just taking little nuances and building my style. I have a gritty vocal, more of a baritone, and I just kind of found my place in country music because I love storytelling, and I want everybody in country music as I grow through my career to know me as a storyteller, and know my songs and just really pay attention to the words. Picked up guitar about 2 years ago, going on 2 years now. Really a kind of late bloomer. I actually had a guitar when I was like 18, and I was getting into it, and my dad broke the neck of it. He denies it to this day. If you ever ask him, he'll never admit to it, but I know what happened to that guitar. I kind of put it down, and then after I put it down, I don't know, man, I just hadn't looked back on it in a while, and but when I decided to really pursue music on this level and make a name for myself, I knew I had producers that were like, "Hey, Brandon, you can write and you can sing. You're great in that department, but you need to pick up a guitar." And one of my producers, actually down here in Orlando, Jeffrey Bowen, he had reached out and told me, he's like, "Man, you need to learn that guitar, Brandon." And he busts my chops even to this day. Bar chords, hand exercises, this and that, and but he's always been a great mentor, and he just kind of pushed me in the right way, man. It was kind of like having that in the music world, kind of having like a father figure. So it was kind of cool to have that relationship with him, and we still have that to this day. So I'm really blessed with that.
You're talking about playing the cello, and I've had a lot of musicians on that. I had we talk about Joel Hoekstra with Whitesnake. He had a classical background, and he actually played the cello as well. And so, do you think that helped kind of guide you, maybe reading music better and also learning chords and the strings? Did it help kind of learn the guitar after playing the cello for a couple of years?
Yeah, it's kind of like I think I want to give it more of like a split. I think the cello was being more in the classical training of the cello taught me more note reading on sheet music, tabs, gave me a better understanding of, the different types of notes and rests. I think that when I got into drumming, playing percussion really opened that up because I played trap sets. I played snare. I played timpani. I played marimba, jazz brushes. I mean, you name it. So just having all those different types of, musical instrument, exposure from hand drums even in church. I was in praise band. I used to play congos and bongos and djembes and all sorts of stuff. So it just really gave me a deeper perspective that I don't think a lot of people get early on necessarily. And it gave me better timing. It gave me better understanding on melodies. And just gave me better structure, I think, ultimately. And so, I would give it a 50-50 between the cello and the percussion. They were both huge assets for sure.
So how does your music get set apart from the other artists out there that are, now with streaming? There's thousands and thousands of people streaming music now, because it is a format and a platform that's, fairly simple to use. I mean, for, somebody recording out of their home or even a studio, to use the streaming platforms, because we've kind of moved away from CDs and that kind of format. But, what kind of sets you apart? I mean, in your genre of music, where somebody, what's going to make people go to see Brandon or listen to Brandon's music over somebody else's? And what do you do that's different?
Yeah, I think really what makes me different is the fact that I'm just like more focused on, I don't really care what, people's perspective. I think there's so many people that try to conform and they try to be, quote unquote, they try to put on this front, this fake, I don't know, you can call it fake country cred, you could call it fake lifestyle, upbringing, so on and so forth. I think I just stay true to who I am. I know what I come from when it comes to my family, my friends, my community. And I really want to show that and showcase that talent through my music. And I do that through my songwriting. Like I said, I wanted to focus on, who am I? I want to be remembered as a storyteller, because I want to tell some of the most deep, cutting like a knife stories. I want to give people songs that hurt, songs that uplift them, people that people could be ashamed of because of the fact maybe they don't like, using certain words. Like I'm a very unfiltered person. I've learned to live my life with no regrets, especially I've been through so much in my life, and seeing all the different experience I've been through as an only child and seeing all the things I had to do and all the adversity I had to battle with certain things I try to accomplish, I just feel compelled that I need to tell the people the truth. I need to tell people stuff that other people want to say that they're afraid to say. Put it into perspective, but make it something relatable. And I want people to be a part of the journey. I think that's something else, man. When I did my album release party this past February, did it on February 22nd. It was the same year, last year in 2019. I released my first single, Sunday Funday, and I had done that record, and it was a great record, and everybody loves it. But the production, style of it, and using like loops and patterns, and just it had more of a poppy feel. And I'm not a pop artist. I'm more a traditional folklore with a gritty vocal, and I got more of that. And I like Southern rock and roll and just rock in general. So you get a kind of blend between those different influences of folk music. I think the folklore is the songwriting side. I think the rock and the traditional is more or less the arrangement side of the music with the instruments, using real instruments. And I tell people all the time, I was talking to friends earlier, I'm like, some of the most imperfect things are perfect, I think so many people are so concerned about what people think about them and what they got to do to get people to be impressed by them. And it's like, it's not about that. People want to see authenticity. People want to see that who you are is who you are. And no matter what happens in your life, that you're always going to, focus on that foundation, on those roots. And if you come and listen to my music, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that through the words. You're going to feel that through the emotion when I sing certain notes and riffs and runs. You're going to feel that through the arrangements of the music. When you come to a show, you're going to not just see me up there, strumming a rhythm guitar or chicken picking. You're going to see me out on the floor with a microphone in my hand, dancing people around, dancing girls around, whatever, to make them feel like they're part of that moment, that song warrants it, or, bringing a couple and getting a couple and tying them into that song and ad-libbing that song and making that song about them so they can have something to make that night special. And I think that's it, man. I think it's songwriting and performance.
I think what kind of hit me was the fact that you get people involved in your show, and I think a lot of times people buy a ticket and they go and they watch, but then they go home and they didn't feel like they were truly a part of it. And the fact that you get people involved with your shows, I think it's kind of a bonus when they buy a ticket to come and see you. They're actually part of the show. I think that makes people go home even happier. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, you know, I mean, man, I don't care how. Listen, you know, I love music. I'm passionate about it. I love it. I love being able to impact people's lives. I love being able to meet new people. I love being able to talk to people. But more importantly, you know, I'm doing this because I want to leave a legacy behind, and I want to be able to give people something that is just maybe disruptive. I want to disrupt the industry in a different way. I want to show people that no matter what you want to accomplish in your life, that if you put your mind to it, that there's nothing that's going to stop you. I'm not going to let anybody tell me, you know, no. Anybody can tell me no. I'm going to tell them, you know, why I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to show them I'm going to do it. And, you know, I think that when it comes down to music, these people pay harder than money. I don't care. When I did my first show, man, all the ladies were free. Guys were $5. It wasn't about the money. It was about, I want to show people in my hometown where I come from that I give a damn. You know, I care about you guys spending your hard-earned money and your time and your gas to come see me and perform. And I want you guys to be proud of that moment and proud of that night and have it be something in your memory bank that 20, 30 years from now, you look back on, I remember when Brandon first started. Man, look at where he got. And we got to be a part of that journey. We got to be a part of that from inception. I want them to ride with me, man. I'm not trying to do this because I want to be some glorified, you know, billboard and, you know, be, you know, yeah, number one's great. Get played on radio is great. Be an A-list, win an award, great. All those things are things that you want to accomplish, certain venues, but I'm not doing it for that purpose. I'm doing it because I want to impact and change people's lives, and I want them to respect that for me and know that I respect them.
No, that's well said. Definitely well said. Which kind of brings us to the next point here is the marketing of your brand. And, you know, I know brand is important with an artist, and, you know, and marketing now is even, I mean, it's challenging because, of course, with social media, there's a million different platforms. But how do you use those platforms to your benefit, and what kind of marketing do you do as an independent artist?
Yeah, so I mean, like, so my umbrella for my music is, I mean, obviously Brandon Bing's my real name, and I go by Brandon Bing. I didn't change and make a fake stage name or some nonsense like that. I think that's bullshit. But what I did was I, you know, wanted to figure out how am I going to reach people? You know, how do I want to reach people? What do I want them to be a part of? Build a culture, build a movement. So I did it by making Hoss Nation. I had buddies that used to call me Hoss and Big Hoss, kind of like the whole Bonanza thing. And, you know, it was just like a nickname. And then I was like, well, how do I take that and tie that? So I look up to Cody Johnson as when he was an independent artist. I know he's signed with Warner now, but I talk about him quite a bit because I just relate there in that space. As far as where he's come from as an independent artist. And he built Kojo Nation, which is Cody Johnson, you know, Nation. And, you know, I had the opportunity to see him at the CMAs this past year. And I just kind of talked to him when we were during commercial break and just told him, man, I appreciate what he's doing, let him know how much he inspires me, being a guy that, you know, from Texas that came up and chased the dream for himself and his family. And I was able to do the same thing coming from Florida. And when he got signed, I saw what he went through by watching videos and analyzing that process to where he's now. And he's always had amazing music. And so for me, I was like, I need something. So it was just coincidental that Hoss Nation was 4 letters like his is Kojo Nation. And it just kind of stuck with me, and it just rolled off the tongue easy. So that's my umbrella. And I'm still trying to figure out a name for my Hoss Nation family, because I don't want to call my listeners, I don't want to call them fans. They're family. You know, we're building a village. It's a community. It's a movement. And at some point down the line, it's going to be something special. I know it will be, because I'm going to bust my ass to get it there. And I know that the people supporting me through and through are going to do everything they can to inspire me, give me advice, and they push me every day. So I thank them for that. And I use that platform through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all social media to express that gratitude. I do inspirational lives on Facebook and Instagram on the, live TV things, that they got on those platforms. I do story posts. I have a hashtag for the storyteller, have it for Stockyard for my whiskey. I have it for Hoss Nation. And I just use that stuff over and over again. I think it's really important. If you're an independent artist and you're trying to build a brand, identify who you are. That's number one. Number two, figure out what your goals are. Write those goals down and start building the trajectory of those goals. Then establish what is it going to take to reach those goals. Is it a certain amount of money? Is it being in a certain place? Is it being at a certain event to have exposure to certain people? And then start honing in on that. And then when it comes to the people that support you, your listeners, make the music. Yeah, my first record, Sunday Funday, I did that, and it was slightly just to have a pop song style kind of out there. But when I get into my Florida Man EP and anything that's coming up next, all that music is to the core who I am. Sunday Funday was the core of me as far as the songwriting, but as far as arrangement, it had a little bit more of a pop, and it didn't have the full instrumentation because it wasn't a live band production like I wanted. And I think those are things that you have to identify, and those things you got to, as you grow as an artist, as a songwriter, as a musician, as an entrepreneur, because this is a business. This is not just get up on a stage, play guitar, and get drunk with your friends and fans. This is, this is a business. You're trying to do this for a livelihood. You're trying to just change your lifestyle, your family. You're trying to do this because you want to impact other ones. You want to be an inspiration to new generations. I think if you focus on those different qualities and those attributes, you'll have a much longer play. And I think that's what's been giving me a lot of my success is people see my authenticity. People see my ruggedness. People see my lack of being no filter. People see my branding mechanisms. They see my content, and they see everything that I do. Dave is pure, is just solid. They see that, man, he's coming. Every time he's coming, he's improving. Every day he's improving, whether it's extra days and sessions with my vocal coach, whether it's writing deeper songs using more witty wordplay, metaphors, similes, imagery, or maybe it's the energy on this track, or maybe it's something in the performance. Everything that I do, I'm going to do everything I can to improve it every time. And that's who Brandon Bing is. That's who Hoss Nation is.
It's funny, a lot of the stuff as I was listening to you talk, Denise Williams, who has been, 4-time Grammy winner and has been, on the scene essentially for 45 years. And a lot of the stuff that you talked about giving advice out there, she gave almost the exact same advice, almost word for word. And she's been around for 45 years. So definitely those listening out there, this is good advice to take. And it's said by almost everybody that's on my show. So definitely, listen and take notes of what Brandon just said. Speaking of Facebook Live, I wanted to kind of get into something outside of music, and there was something you did, a hot wing challenge on Facebook Live that I really laughed at because it kind of went through waves as you ate that chicken wing. It went from hot to like, oh, this is cool, and then you had a second wave come through. You were actually sweating. Talk about that because I actually have a story about Tijuana Flats too, but I want to hear what that's kind of a fun thing that you did on Facebook Live.
Yeah, man. This whole quarantine thing has got people down a lot, and I think a lot of people just need to have fun and just realize that we can all be normal and nothing's going to be different. And so what I did was I was at my buddy Vinny has his family has a cheesesteak. I'm wanting cheesesteak all of a sudden. He has a cheesesteak shop down there he has a few locations down here. It's called Las Spadas, and they're original Philly cheesesteaks. So he does like food swaps every now and again. So yesterday I was down there. We were working on a video. I just released a unofficial music video for my song Back Porch on my record. And so when I was down there, he was like, "Hey, buddy," he's like, "You want some pizza?" And I'm like, "Yeah, so I had some pizza last night. I'm sure we can have it again. Sure, why not?" So he wound up doing a swap of some cheesesteaks to Pizza Hut, and they gave him some Pizza Hut and some wings. So he's like, "Oh, man," he's like, "We got this sauce in here." I was like, "What you got?" So I was like, something just told me to get my phone out, and I threw a video up, and I was like, I'm just going to roll it and see what happens. So I put out a wing, and a couple of his workers were sitting there, and they were like, it was funny, Maury and Carlos were sitting there in the back, and they're watching me with this sauce while they're cooking. They're like, "Oh, man, that's going to get you in the sphincter. Don't do that. That's going to, this chili rain's about to get hot. We're going to see how hot this thing gets." And so I took the wing, and I was like, and I poured the sauce, and most people just put a drop of sauce. You go into uncharted territory. You can't just go to uncharted territory and just like, you got to dive in. I'm that guy. Like, I don't want to sit there and just like pour a drop. I want to put the whole thing on the wing, and then just, hey, what's going to happen is going to happen. If not, call the paramedics. The ER's around the corner. Put it on the wing, coated it up, and I put that thing in my mouth, and I promise, man, when I first got on there, Dave, like, the first thing wasn't too bad. But then when I was going through it, and I started sitting, and all of a sudden, I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, this thing's actually getting a little hot. The soda, I was like, wait, the Coke is just making it hotter. Put that down. Mark's like, "Hey, I got some bread for you, bread." And he's like, he's like, "I can't believe you just put that whole thing in your mouth like that." He's like, "You put too much." He's like, I was like, "Oh, man." So I was like, I caught it on video, threw the video up last night, and it's been getting some pretty good attention. People like it. It's kind of funny. And I was like, I think everybody does this. I was like, man, I should start doing hot wing challenges every week or something like that and mess around with these sauce bars. Because Tijuana's got one of the craziest hot sauce bars. I mean, as it for a Tex-Mex restaurant. Even one of my favorite ones is Smack My Sweet Ass and Call Me Sally.
That's what I want to tell you about. Now I got. First of all, that was your buddy's shop that you were at, your buddy's restaurant.
Yeah, my buddy Vinny his family owns Las Spada's original Philly cheesesteaks. They got a store in Lee Road down there in Winter Park. They got one on 46 in Sanford, and they got one in Orange City.
All right, good. I wanted to give that a plug, so thanks. And then I want to tell you about that Smack My Sweet Ass and Call Me Sally, because when I was at Tijuana Flats one time, as I mentioned, there's a whole bar of sauces, and I went down to the one end, because one end is actually really mild, and the other end of the side of the sauces, there must be 20 of them there. It's like ghost pepper hot, right? So I went down to... So I saw Smack My Sweet Ass and Call Me Sally. I'm thinking, oh my God, this sounds like this is hot, right? So I went down to the other end and I loaded up on whatever it was. I don't know if it was ghost pepper or what it was. And I just loaded up and I ate whatever it was. And I swear to God, I thought I was going to throw up. I was like sweating. I was like, my mouth was on fire. They were bringing milk out to me, anything that would make my mouth cool off. Like the whole staff was out there giving me stuff because I'm like, I thought Smack My Sweet Ass and Call Me Sally was hot. So I went to the other end thinking that was going to be the mild side. Yeah. So that's crazy. I'm not really a hot sauce kind of guy. So when I watched you eat that wing, I was like, oh my God, that's definitely not me. As I started watching you sweat, I'm like, no, that's not me. So definitely, if you guys go on to Brandon's Facebook, you got to see that Facebook Live. That was funny. It was a funny video. Yeah, definitely a weekly thing would be cool.
Oh yes.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate, first of all, Brandon, I love your music, good stuff out there. And, anybody who's, not just into country music, just music in general, I really enjoyed it. Everybody go check out. And first of all, how can they check you out, Brandon? Let's talk about your social media. Where can people find you? Yeah,
so if they go online, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's Brandon Bing Music on Facebook and Instagram. Twitter's under the Hoss Music. And then I got a YouTube channel, Brandon Bing Music. They can check it out on there as well. I'm an Apple and Spotify verified artist, so all my stuff is on there for music and streaming and digital download. And then my music website's brandonbingmusic.com. So.
Well, man, we can't wait to hear the new stuff that's about to come out. So, again, thank you for coming on the Stage Door Show tonight, Brandon, and wish you nothing but the best in the future. And you're welcome on my show anytime.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Thanks so much for your time.
Smoking bars and guitars. Six strings of marble menthol.